Fans, we're back. We're going to talk more about this Mike Hamilton situation. Not shocking that some idiot that has no place probably running an athletic department has made another terrible decision.
Well, it's like we were saying in the last segment. You really, especially with a new coach, you need to have as much practice time and as much play time as possible with your new player.
Because there's going to be a new system.
Yeah. To me, this just smacks of them saying, this season's not a big deal, it doesn't matter. We're writing off this season. And him citing budget concerns is just ridiculous because the basketball program, I want to say, made a $6 million profit last year.
Wow, they must have some real budget problems if $6 million can't cover this
One
trip.
of the big things about those, I believe the trips overseas too, they're also partially financed by just booster sponsors.
And we've got some good boosters.
I want to say Pilot may have sponsored our last trip.
I'm sure Big Jim doesn't care to throw the money around for stuff like that.
And a lot of, they sold packages. You could travel with the team. And
Which I imagine sell for a pretty penny.
several hundred people actually took them up on the packages and traveled with the team on the team bus, team plane, and everything, and went to the toured overseas. If they were going to go to Italy, that'd be a great experience for the kids. Get to see a lot of that, ancient Rome, things like that. But Hamilton, in his infinite wisdom, and I guess Conzo Martin, which like I say, that one thing so far I don't approve of, him going off to coach Team USA in China. I mean, hopefully maybe some really good recruits from the class of 2012 are going to be on that team.
We could get so lucky.
That's what I'm hoping for right now. I'm not sure if they are or not. But you take a new job at this high profile place and you've got so much stuff to do. Leaving for 2 weeks in August, right as if your freshmen are reporting for school, doesn't really seem like the best idea in the world to me.
Exactly. And especially, UT stability is not there. You need a good, strong head coach to keep these kids' heads where it's at. It's party school. If you're an athlete, you get invited to some of these events.
Well, we've already saw the unfortunate things like the athletes who were getting free this and that at Bar Knox, which is probably going to be part of our NCAA tidings that are coming up, which I think they may be coming up around August.
Well, you're probably right.
As when we hear the final word on that. Now, hopefully it won't be so bad. The NCAA apparently decided to not really hammer Ohio State as much as anybody would have thought they would have.
That baffles me, but we must protect the Big Ten, apparently.
I don't understand how they did not get at least failure to monitor like USC did.
We watched these gold pants sold on the show Pawn Stars.
Literally, Pete Carroll at USC, everybody knew they were violating some rules. He was cited, and even though the athletic department didn't know about this apparently, but still they should have because they didn't monitor, Pete Carroll himself was cited for failure to monitor because he had someone come in and, watch some film with the guys and talk about it. And that constituted an additional coach that wasn't allowed on the staff.
Right.
Since they said Pete Carroll should have known of this, and he had knowledge of this rule, that's failure to monitor his program. Well, Jim Tressel of Ohio State knew that his players were ineligible. He knew they were ineligible. He knew they were trading tattoos for memorabilia.
For actually one of what's considered the most sacred things of Ohio State football.
Yeah, the gold pants they get for beating Michigan. And one player gave that away. They were giving game-worn jerseys away in trade for tattoos. And Tressel knew this and knew that they were violating NCAA rules. He knew his players were ineligible. He signed the document with the NCAA saying that, as far as he knew, there were no NCAA violations.
Not unlike the Bruce Pearl situation.
Yes, but except Tressel lied about it, continued lying, and continued denying it for months. Pearl admitted it maybe a few days later that he had.
But we must protect Ohio State. That's obviously what the NCAA
They
is
could probably face major sanctions and should, but failure monitor is one of the biggest ones. The lack of institutional control.
Is that the one that Alabama got the
The
death
lack of
penalty
institutional
for?
control is what Alabama nearly got the death penalty for. That's the biggest thing you can get cited for. And failure to monitor is second. And we're under investigation for failure to monitor right now for the Pearl situation, but somehow not Ohio State for the Tressel situation when he did even worse than Pearl.
That's the NCAA for you. They're like the TSSAA, only worse. But on a happier note, we did Friday attend the Dell League Invitational Relays and such down at Anderson County.
Yeah, Anderson County, good host, nice relay event. They run a little slow sometimes, but I guess they've got so much stuff to deal with. That's what happened.
That's true, and I mean this was an invitational. I mean you literally only certain members of the team were invited to compete.
You had to, been a good performer through the year to manage to make it. And Campbell County didn't have a full team there because it was spring break. Some people were out of town.
Right.
But, the ones that were there, they showed up. They did well.
Shayla Goins set a new school record in shot put.
Now, that's impressive. Shayla's a very impressive shot player. She's one of the top 5 in the state, I believe. But unfortunately for Shayla, in some, cases, Anderson County's lead shot putter is just exceptionally good and maybe the best shot putter in the state.
Bethany Meredith set a new school record in discus.
And Bethany, she's moving on to the next year.
She's going to throw the hammer at the aforementioned Cumberland College.
She's got a scholarship. That's we were talking about getting scholarships, thousands of dollars in your pocket because you tried and did your best in the spring sports.
And, and Bethany, she came in, she medaled at the UT Vol Classic in hammer. Never thrown it before.
And she will make a good player at the next level, a good person. She'll be fine up there at Cumberland.
It was a good Kristen Chapman. She not shockingly won the high jump.
It wasn't her best jump. It was only 5'4", which that's actually still considered a national elite level jump.
But she's jumped 5'8".
In her defense, she literally in the middle of her high jump stopped to run the 100-meter hurdles, and then went back to jump.
Which she came in second to Anderson County's Kendra Miller, who won the event by a large margin over every other competitor.
Kendra, she's really good with her 100 meters, 200s, or anything in track. She's good at the triple jump. She's just really a natural athlete.
Now, Kristen, another thing, she went up to Johnson City and competed in the pentathlon and came in third, which is not an automatic bid, but she will most likely get an at-large bid to the state. She set the school record for the long jump at that event that stood for over 30 years, and it's not even an event she practices.
Now, she hadn't actually jumped the long jump in over a year.
Since the last pentathlon.
And she's maybe Campbell County's best athlete.
And she is exceptional.
She's great at basketball, all the track events. Her and Courtney Morris are probably the 2 top female athletes anyway.
And speaking of great athletes, Lucas Nelson also competed. I don't think he did well enough to pull an at-large bid. He may have. The at-large bids are kind of odd because they go from all 3 regions, not just. There's 2 automatic qualifiers from East, Middle, and West Tennessee. Then there are 6 at-large bids. And I don't know how the Middle and West Tennessee athletes did. But Lucas, he's a senior. I really wish Lucas could stay around another year and play for Matt Housley. Because I've been watching him since he played at West La Follette under Mike Reynolds. And he is an exceptional basketball player.
Yeah. I guess everybody's eligibility's got to run out at some point.
Yeah.
Good for him. He's moving on. Hopefully he'll go to college.
I would love to see Lucas play college basketball on some level. Even if it's merely the community college level, Lucas is good.
Not sure where he's going to college yet.
Not sure. I tell you, another great athlete, he's on the track team. One of the better ones at Campbell County is Ethan Simpson. Ethan's very good at track. He's very good at basketball. He's actually a really good football player, but couldn't play football because he played basketball, and basketball is kind of his sport. So, I can see that, but I think it was unfair that the basketball team could not play football.
Well, I would like to be able to see the basketball team and the football team, be able to exchange players. I know it's going to overlap some in the season, but
it does, but the Lynn Pierce strategy for years was to schedule Oak Ridge early on while they still had some players in the football playoffs. And of course with Campbell County, especially back then, our basketball team had been on the floor 2 weeks.
Well, it worked for Pierce there. He usually had good teams.
And I'll tell you, the basketball-football connection does not hurt Jody Wright at Fulton.
No.
It doesn't hurt him at Oak Ridge.
Honestly, it doesn't hurt the middle schools. The kids are used to doing it. They do it at Jacksboro Mafalda Middle School.
Yeah, all the time. Both teams are were almost identical. Ralston Lettner, I don't think played football at La Follette, but I think the rest of their starting lineup did. And at Jacksboro, I don't think Dylan Clausen played football, but I think the rest of their starting lineup did.
Seems like even when I was in middle school, I mean, a lot of the starters were starting on both football and basketball.
Well, I mean, when we coached there together, it was I mean, not uncommon, and shoot, we had to fight with the golf team because we had players that were top seeds on the golf team that were our starting quarterback and wide receiver.
Let me tell you, it's hard fighting Coach Bruce at Jacksboro Middle School.
It's frowned upon.
It's baffling to me, honestly, that policy would have been in place.
Well, I mean, it was just one of those. It's one of those things. Almost every other school shares athletes among the programs.
Oh, I can't think of any high school program that wouldn't do that.
No, I mean,
even Tennessee's top flight recruits for years.
John Henderson.
Henderson was a great basketball player. Cedric Houston.
Cedric
He was
Houston.
a great basketball. Robert Meacham, he probably could have played basketball in Division I.
In fact, I want to say he practiced with the team briefly.
Yeah, I believe he did. I mean, it's much harder to play both sports at the college level, especially you start getting into issues with they have to practice extremely long amounts of time for both sports, and anybody that's on a football scholarship cannot be on scholarship for any other team.
Right.
The Bear Bryant rule.
Because Baird used to load his swim teams up with offensive linemen. And Alabama would have 200 players on it because every other sport in the school was just football players.
And speaking of swimming, I know for a fact that we are going to have an indoor swimming pool at Grace Rehab. Probably a pretty good size one. If it is, this would be a great time for Grace Rehab to step up and be a great member of the community and say, let's put together a swim team for Campbell County.
That would be outstanding.
I think it would be a great addition to these sports for Campbell County.
Once again, very cheap to get started. You
Every
need some Speedos.
sport,
I need some Speedos.
No, you don't.
every sport that you field a team in, that's an athlete that may get a scholarship for that sport.
Exactly. And golly, you talk about a great way to get in shape.
Oh yeah.
Yes, probably not our method of floating around and eating a lot while we swim, but
It works for us. We're in shape. Round, but it's a shape. But, I mean, seriously, though, if it is big enough to do it, Grace Rehab needs to step up right now. Brian Leach, good guy. I went to high school with him. I think it would be great if he could step up and say, hey, here's the pool at my rehab facility. We don't use it after a certain time. This can be when you're a swim team.
I'm not sure how large they have to be for swimming events or how large. Grace
Olympic
pools will be.
length. They have to be Olympic length.
So we'll see. I'm not sure if it'll be that big of a pool.
It
may
may.
be. If it's that big of a pool, that would be a great.
It
thing.
actually may not be Olympic length in high school.
To be honest with you, the community needs a pool anyway. I mean, I'm not saying Grace Rehab should build a pool for the community. One of the communities should. Jacksboro, Carroll, La Follette, all three combined together somewhere.
Jacksboro could take some Walmart money, and Carroll can take some of that mythical liquor money that's about to come in, and you could build.
The Oak Ridge and the Civic Center there has a really nice indoor pool.
As does Clinton.
Yes, Clinton as well. I mean, they're speaking of building this Civic Center somewhere around North Lake.
That's true.
Put a big pool in there.
I mean, I would love to be able to swim, and by swim I mean eat a lot and float year round.
Get yourself an indoor pool. Get the swim team out there. You have a swim team. Then maybe we can get to work on those tennis courts too.
All right, folks. One more segment to go. Got a few more things to talk about. We're going to wrap this one up as we're getting close to the YouTube time limit. Thank you, YouTube, for not approving us yet. Folks, we got one more segment. Stay tuned.